So I need to make this voice note. um, so I don't have to write it. But I was cleaning, thinking, and the thoughts that I've often thought came together, but I've never had it so wonderfully stated, and I'm hoping that I can say it like I thought it, or like I heard it in my mind. But as I'm reflecting on this healing journey in this season at the end of the year of 2023, I realized that in this process of God telling me to step away from what I would say be the core of my life, which is family, the core of who I grew up with, the core of basically my environment that made me, formed me, shaped me, molded me into the individual that I was in the past, this is the exact place that God is telling me to be still and to step away. And there's things that I have saw, there's things that I have read, there's things like even today that it's exposing the truth and the reality of who I have been and who I am unbecoming. And I didn't realize that if there was an emotion, a feeling, that it's rooted in anger. And it makes sense. But the conversation or the words that I heard that were put together a few minutes ago, and it was, I have the ability to understand and communicate many languages, but there are very little to none that can speak my primary language. And obviously we're not talking about English, Spanish, anything like that, but I'm able to see so many people, and I'm able to see so many problems. And I've wondered through life how many people can see me. If I can see just about everybody around me, and I can see what they're dealing with, and I can see their issues, and somehow I can almost say what maybe a solution may be, or what a healthier version would look like, I wonder, do I have any one person who is or could be the exact same thing to me that I am to others around me? And I believe I know the honest to God answer is no. But then it goes as far as I am able to understand a lot of people. I'm able to understand a lot of the things that they don't say, to get a full meaning and interpretation of what is trying to be relayed or the message that they are trying to get across. But if I'm honest, just because I can understand them, just because I can speak to them, doesn't mean that they understand my language. So when I speak my language, it's not understood. When so somebody speaking my language back to me, I don't believe that it's ever happened. And I think that I would know. And it's almost like the interpreter who says, I've learned every tongue. I know every talk. I know every way to do it. But then there's my native, there's my language. And I don't ever get to speak my language to anyone because there's no one else around me who understands my language. And then I saw the visual of if an interpreter or a person who speaks or whatever it is, I just saw somebody who's walking around with these layers on, and it's like, you need this, I got that on. You need this, I got that on. You need this, I have that on. But when I go home and I say, I don't want to wear all of this, I want to strip down to my core, I want to strip down to my nakedness, I want to strip down where there's nothing else on me but me. I want to be in my most authentic suit, which is nothing. I want to be naked. I want to not wear anything else that I had to wear when I went outside those doors. And when I do that, I realize there's nobody who can wear that same suit, whether it be their natural tongue or whether they have the ability and the gifting to be able to put on what Ladisha may need to speak over. And so in this season of me having to have conversation and me having to pull apart, it's like, did you not hear me? Did I misconstrue? Like, did I not say what I needed to say? Did I not break it down? And then that's another thing. Like, I feel like I have to over explain, and I realize that needs to stop. Then I'm just gonna have to be a no is a no, a yes is a yes. And then if you don't understand what I have to say, then you're clearly not somebody that I'm going to be speaking to very often, because I don't have time to give language. I don't have time to give dialogue. I don't have time to provide a research paper in an essay for my one sentence. I don't have time to break down what my response is. I don't have time. It's confusing and it's draining and it's frustrating when you live in a place and you live in a world and it's like the very ones that you came from don't get you. The very ones that you came from, they don't understand you. And being set apart, it sounds great. Reading that I'm fearfully and wonderfully made, that he created me in my mother's womb, that he set me apart, that he knew me before anybody else knew me. Like, all of that sounds wonderful until you're that person and you realize, no, when he says you are set apart, that means you're set apart from this. What happens when you're set apart from the set apart from the set apart from the set apart? When it's like hundreds, and then he pulls 50, and then he pulls 10, and then he pulls 1. And what happens when you're the one? And it's one thing when you feel weird, and then you get around other things, but you continue to be shifted throughout life, and then life shows you, no, you really are the one. Like, you are the one. And it doesn't make you feel like, oh, you're the one. You're the one that's gonna do big things. You're the one that he's gonna use. You're the one, because you don't wake up being the one. You wake up being the one. Every day of your life, you're the one. And it doesn't matter where you go, you're the one different one. The one who knows that they don't fit in. The one who knows because they can feel it, they can sense it, they realize there's not another me. There's not another one in this place. Why? Because you're the one. And it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt. I don't know if it ever has hurted. That's probably not a word, but I don't know if it has ever hurt me to realize that I didn't fit, to feel strange, to feel like, you hear other people say that, but it's like every now and then you look and it's like, you look like you found your place, but I don't really know. And I know there is somewhere, maybe there's a place for me, maybe there's not. Maybe I'll always feel this. It's not a void. It's just my reality. And in God taking me, this is not the first time that he's told me. This is not the first time that I've had to tell family, hey, I got to pull back because God says so. And it's the exact same thing. More phone calls than ever in just a matter of days. And I'm just like, but I said what I said. Were you not listening? Or is it because it's you that I'm supposed to make a rule to the exception? Or is it because it's you that you just assume that I'm going to be something that I said that I could no longer be? Or is it because it's you, or are you not thinking? Or then the thing is, it's like, no, don't give anything the benefit of the doubt. There is a spirit in anything, Ladisha. There is a spirit in everything. How many times was Jesus tempted by the Satan in the wilderness? When? While after he fasted. And I look at this season of my life and it's like, okay, pay attention to the darts. Pay attention to the things that come. Why? When you're fasting. Pay attention to the things that are coming. The moment that you and God have this conversation and you say, yes, God, I will surrender. Yes, God, it's just going to be me and you. Yes, God, I will step away from this relationship. Yes, God, I won't allow anything over here. Yes, God, I'll take my focus off of that and I'll put it on you. And then what happens? Ding, 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 ding. Here they all go. Showing up. And then they make it you the problem. But for me, it's confirmation. And I'm just like, are you serious? Do you not even see that it's you? Do you not even see that he's able to use you? Do you not take what I've said into consideration? Do you not take? And then it's like, maybe you shouldn't have had the conversation. Maybe you shouldn't have tried to do things decently and in order. Maybe you should just learn to just let things cut off. Maybe you should just give it to God and just let things go silent. Let things die. Let them be whatever he wants them to be. Because at the end of the day, you owe nobody an explanation. You don't owe them any kind of expectation. At the end of the day, you belong to God, and that is all. Nobody else. Nobody else has stewardship. Nobody else has rights. Some people have relationship, but that doesn't mean that that relationship is a guarantee. And that doesn't mean that it is going to be forever in a lifetime. And so today I'm just like, And I'm like, God, how do I process this? And I'm pretty sure later on, as my mind has time to think and as the Spirit works and talks and has its way, more and more things will make sense. But I'm just like, I'm glad that I'm here. I'm glad that the Lord has led me here. I'm glad that I get to see what I see. I'm glad that I get to experience what I experience. I'm glad that I get to take lessons. I'm glad that I get to learn. I'm glad that I get to document them, that I get to write them down, that I get to make voice recordings. I'm glad about it. Because somebody else is going to say, how do I walk away from my mother? Easy, let me tell you. How do I walk away from all? Let me sit down and let me tell you. I won't be the first, and I know that I'm surely not going to be the last. But in my lifetime, I've learned sometimes that Satan, the enemy, will confirm what God has told you better than anyone else can. And so this is my little 13-minute recording. Because life is crazy out here. And sometimes I'm wondering, I'm like, God, they're not Judas, they're Peter's. I don't know. Are they Peter? I don't really know. But I understand the scripture where he says, get thee behind me, Satan, because exactly what my Father has told me to do, now you're asking me to go against it. Why? Because it's you. And I'm like, the audacity, the selfishness. But I can say that because I look at myself. If somebody would have had some of the same conversations with me that I had with them, I would have honored it. It wouldn't matter what came up. I would have honored it. I would not have wanted to get in their way. I would have honored what it is that God has instructed them to do. But I'm also having to realize and just accept people for where they are. Everybody doesn't deserve certain responsibility to you. Everybody doesn't deserve a certain level of access. And so I'm learning there won't be a boundary that I have to have a conversation with. I'm creating boundaries within myself. I'm not going to keep telling people. I'm not going to tell anybody how to love me. I'm not going to tell anybody that, wait, I'm sorry, I have to limit you, that I have to limit my expectations. Really, at this point, I should have no expectation. But I'm just going to do me, and I'm going to do God. Who stays ain't up to me. Who goes, he can take them. But it just goes to show me, no, I'm not going to say nobody, but where I come from can't love me. the way that God intends for me to be loved. Where I come from is not healthy. Where I come from is not stable. Where I come from can no longer nurture me because they can't provide the nourishments that this new plant in this new stage at this new level needs. There's a certain level that if you've not grown to that depth, how can you give somebody that you don't have? And I realize I've outgrown everything of my past. Like literally, I've outgrown everything from my past. Even still broken, even still jacked up, even still, yes. Why? Because there is a level of transparency that I have with God. I can explain my relationship to God, and I'm not going to be braggy and I won't be boastful. But I can say that when it comes to me and God, I know that I know him in a way that I know him, and it's crazy and it's strange. And it didn't take long to get here. It just took being intentional. I opened myself up, and I keep asking for him to have open heart surgery on me with no anesthesia. God is faithful. Because he's faithful, it makes me want to be faithful. So I'm willing to disappoint anybody because I know the day he calls me home, really, if I please him, he's the only one that matters.